You've been told that you're individual, a body, a personality, a separate self struggling to survive. But what if separation is nothing more than a story the mind tells? Good morning, my friends. It's Hi John here in my sit and love room and soon to be a new studio. I'm building this up to create the broader expanding spirit channel. And what you don't see is this room is a big empty room, but it's going to have several different little sets in it once I start getting the funds together to put that together. And we'll be able to have different kinds of videos, different ideas. I'm sitting right now on an ottoman, but it's two chairs side by side, so we can do interviews right here in this studio. So everything's coming together slowly but surely. But yeah, this is what's happening right now. So everything is coming together. But let's talk about this idea of separation. When we're little kids, we're all talking about you're a good girl, you're a bad boy, you're a whatever, the me and mine, and children would fight over whose toy it was, and that idea that we're separate from one another is reinforced by the language that we hear, and not only the language that we hear, but the language that we use. My body, my thoughts, my life. And society rewards the identity of separateness. They create competitions and comparison and control. They say you have to do these certain things to be accepted in this society. But the idea of this separation is something that is lost in spirituality, because spirituality is the non-corporeal, and the identity of self is the corporeal. It's the physical world self. The word ego means awareness of self, understanding your singular identity. And when you look at that singular identity and you start to realize that, the world that we live in is affected by all of us at once, we are interconnected in a much broader way. What I do when I throw trash out the window of my car affects the person whose yard that trash lands in. When we look at the world as a oneness collective, we start to look at the world as something that we take care of. We take care of each other. We take care of our experiences, because those experiences directly affect us. So this idea of separateness is just an illusory thought, because we think we're separate. But in fact, we connect and we affect the whole. Society awards that separateness with competition, as I said, but that separation leads to suffering. It leads to borders and boundaries. It leads to that place where we start to compare and we start to fight. And fear comes to defend this imaginary boundary. Once you create borders or boundaries, you've created the potential for fear to erupt in a big way. Guilt and shame rise from believing we're broken and deficient in me. Comes back to this idea that these fears and the anxieties are creating these expressions of our singular self. Even loneliness is a felt sense of disconnection from the oneness or from the whole. But the problem is we have two sources of thought. We have the conscious mind, which is choosing to think something. We have the subconscious or unconscious mind, that is literally the beliefs coming from our past experience. And when we look at these ideas of our singular self thoughts, and we are constantly focusing on the subconscious without consciously knowing we're changing it, what happens is we start to create from experience, and the creation from experience itself disconnects us even further, because now we're leaning into the experience of the self, as opposed to being firmly present and being in the now, and choosing to be the thinker of our own thoughts. The issue is the concept of time itself, the linear construct of time. When you look at time as an ongoing path that you're walking, you're going to have a path behind you that's going to tell you the way things are, or going to give you the idea of the way things are. So look at it this way. Imagine if you took a boat and you anchored that boat in the middle of a river. Now that boat is stationary because it's anchored, but the water is flowing past the boat. Now, behind that boat, there's a wake, there's a swirl, there's motion in the water because of the boat. But 100 feet in front of the boat, there's no shape in that water whatsoever. It's just a bunch of water. And that water is going to come to that boat. It's going to hit the bow of that boat. It's going to part. It's going to reveal the shape of the boat. Now you're in your boat and I'm in my boat. Everybody's in their own boat. The water is the substance of the universe that all of our experiences play out in. It's the matter, it's the atoms, it's the image of God. It's the stuff we see when our eyes are open. The motion of the water coming towards the boat is how time works. It's coming to us. We're not traveling through it, it's coming to us. And this, my friends, is easy to prove because your past is nothing but a collection of present moment memories. And your future is nothing but a place where we set goals for our next present moment. But every experience you have ever had in your life happened in your present moment. That means time has to be coming to you, through you, and behind you. But here's the kicker on this. The shape of the boat you're in is what you believe about the now. And if you believe you're separate and alone and disconnected and guilty and unworthy, you will create that experience because that is the shape of your boat. When you believe you are connected in a world of love and compassion, then you will start to see those sorts of expressions because that will become the shape of your boat. The real key is to understand that the water only shows you the shape of the boat you put in it, and that the water is only going in one direction. It comes to you, through, and behind you, which means that when you put a solidly good-looking boat here in the present, it's going to create the reflection of that boat behind you. And then you're going to do it again. It's going to do that again. And the more you do that, it's going to end up creating this new past behind you that is now your new subconscious belief. And your entire experience of life changes because now you are creating from conscious choice. And you're not only creating from conscious choice, but your conscious choice has become your subconscious choice. And now your growth expands and your awareness of a greater self appears.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com.
Right across the street from my house is a guy who put an ugly roof on a house. Now, did I choose to put that roof on the house? No. But at the same time he was doing that, I was thinking about moving and that how Ohio was no longer for me. So suddenly, my conscious thought of Ohio no longer being for me, this guy's conscious thought created an ugly roof on his house. And now, when I look out the window at Ohio, it's no longer for me. So this is an ongoing connection. The universe provides to us through our thoughts, our beliefs, but it always provides in the path of least resistance. It always provides in what's going on in the collective consciousness of the oneness. When you stop and you start to see yourself as a collection of stories, and those stories have their own beliefs, and that truth is chosen, then you change your experience. When someone insults you, does it hurt you? Or is this just a story of me being hurt? Am I looking at this experience from they're saying something harmful to me, and all that really does is kick in the threat assessment of the ego, which then tells us this is bad and this makes me feel bad about myself, and myself gets lost in the story of someone else. And until you acknowledge you're writing your own story, you'll be a character in somebody else's. It comes down to you choosing to tell the story. And you can choose a comedy or a tragedy, but comedy is much more fun. On the flip side of this, when somebody says something hurtful or harmful, when you succeed, who exactly is proud? The story of witnessing presence. You are looking at what you've done, and you've declared that you're proud of what you've done, and you've experienced what you've done. That's the self who's doing that. But understanding that self is a witness of what's going on, observing emotions as appearances in consciousness rather than my emotions. We look at this, I understand that feeling. And we understand that feeling is projected outward because we are not limited by the borders of our skin. We are bigger, broader. Everything you're looking at in the world is nothing but atomic energy in motion. And over 90% of an atom is empty space. The rest is just motion. So when your eyes are open, you're looking at that motion and you realize that the wall, the air, and your eyes are all atoms. So all you really are is your thoughts, and your thoughts are reflected out into this oneness, into this energy. And when you realize that you are connected to all of this energy that's in the universe. So rather than thinking of it as my emotions, think of it as I am putting out a beautiful presence of love. I am putting out a beautiful creation into the world. If we want to create a loving world, we have to create the loving world within ourselves. We can't change others' minds, but we can help them change their own by being connected into a loving world and making our part of the world so bright that the world chooses to save itself around you. All of the stories of self, be they from a victimhood past or from your own successes or failures, you're not bound to that story. You're not bound to the limitations. The mind and the ego create boundaries or parameters of our experience. And when we realize we can ask mountains to move and they'll move, nothing's impossible for us, then the boundaries shift. We start to realize that we are more, we are bigger. And peace emerges naturally when the defense is no longer necessary. Losing the ego that needs to be in the constant process of threat assessment and realizing you can still have your individuality, but you don't have to process it through fear. You don't have to process it through anxiety. Love arises because there is no other fear or fight. We come to the place of realizing that we ourselves are expressing a beautiful world. We are expressing that beautiful world in cooperation with others who are changing their minds or are already creating that beautiful world. We are one. We are connected. Joshua in the Bible says the Father and I are one, and you must become one with me as I am with the Father. There is this inner energy of love, this energy of, and capacity to love. The kingdom of heaven is truly within you. You know, Gandhi says, you know, what, Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, be the love that goes out to the world, which is connected to all. There's no longer a need to fight. Separation has never been real. It's a mental overlay of the truth of who you really are. You're not a fragment, you are the wholeness itself. If you're ready to live beyond fear and defense, then make that conscious present moment choice. Live in the now. Live the message that you want to see in the world. Be the oneness now so that the oneness can change to be with you. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.